our next guest is a four-time Olympic gold medalist and five-time world champion diver. At 24, he became the first man in, get this, 56 years to win 2 gold medals in diving by winning both the platform and springboard events. In 1988, competing against divers half his age, he became the first to win double gold medals for diving in 2 consecutive Olympics. Woo, the list goes on and on. He has been termed the world's best diver, and this morning we are so lucky to welcome to the show this morning Greg Louganis. Welcome to the Balancing Act, Greg. It's so good to see you again.
It's great to see you again.
And can I tell you why we say again? I interviewed Greg several years ago when I was a local reporter in Miami. I went out to the Hall of Fame, right? And Greg tried to get me to jump off the 10-meter springboard.
Come on, Greg. Get your suit on. We'll go off 10 minutes. I'll hold your hand. That's okay.
Yeah, I told him I didn't want to get my hair wet, but that's another story. But, you know, those were your career accomplishments, and I do want to get into more of that in just a bit. But first, I want to fast forward a little bit here because you are so heavily involved in charity work right now, and I know that you're a human rights advocate. You do tons of public speaking. Talk to me a little bit about your own balancing act and how you manage it all.
Well, you know, it's really incredible. I mean, things that I'm really, really passionate about. Human rights, equal rights, you know, that is a passion of mine. I did a 1.7-mile swim in California. I'm not a swimmer. Oh my God, I'm a diver.
You're a diver.
I
There is a difference,
you know? And I was like, I just volunteered to do the 1.7-mile swim. Swallowed half the ocean, but you know, I got through, and it was great. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. I love those physical challenges, but it's also for a good cause. I also have another charity that I'm trying to get off the ground in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Positively Pet Fund, and to care for animals of people living with HIV, because there's so many patients out there, HIV patients out there, who are having to decide whether they're going to spend their money on their medications because they're so expensive, or if they're going to take care of their animals, get food and vet care for their animals, and they opt for the animals, you know, because it's all about quality of life.
Sure.
And so I want to alleviate that stress from as many people as I can.
I want to talk a little bit personally here, if I could, because one of the things that I do know about you is that you always felt like you kind of had to hide the real you from the public eye. And what I find interesting is that, you know, when I interviewed you years ago, there seemed to be a little bit of a shyness there. Do you know what I mean? And kind of a little bit of a reserved nature. And one of the things we joked about is I said, but you know, women loved you. Every time you would say Greg Louganis, someone would be like, woo, can you hook me up? Can you introduce me? But underneath that all, you were hiding the real you. How difficult was it for you to hide the fact that you were a gay man, or that you are a gay man, and that you didn't want the public to know? And why did you feel you had to hide that?
You know what? I mean, it was just such a process, the coming out process, letting go of those secrets. I mean, it is a process. I mean, and each person has their own journey. I mean, I was out to a lot of my family, my friends, people who were really close to me, but I mean, after '84, I got a lot of media attention, and then I got signed on with an agency, and they said, well, kind of calm down the gay stuff. You know, I was like, oh, okay. So it was my policy not to discuss my sexuality with members of the media.
Okay.
So it was, you know, then I was like back in the closet again, and it just didn't feel right. And it wasn't until '95 when I came out with my book, Breaking the Surface, and Barbara Walters was the one who got the first rights for the interview, and then Oprah called Barbara to see if, you know, she could come and do an interview with me, and you know, I was terrified. I was terrified when that book came out because...
What were you terrified about?
Well, I mean, I had so many people that were really, really close to me that were concerned about my safety because of my HIV status, because of my hitting my head on the board, because of the blood, you know, all of those things. There was a lot of fear at that time surrounding HIV. So they were very, very concerned about me, and I didn't know how people were going to react, and I thought people would shun, you know, and all. But what I learned is honesty begets honesty.
How important is it for you now today, Greg, having come out and having kind of felt like, boy, what was I kind of afraid afraid of all this time. What are you telling young people now who may be feeling what you were feeling?
Well, you know what? We live in a different day and age. I mean, we have much more positive role models that are out there in images of gay people. You know, it's a little bit more well-rounded.
Sure.
And so, you know, there's, not that it's accepting, but there's a bit more tolerance out there. And so that's really, really encouraging. But also, you know what? I have nothing to hide. You know, I'm an open book. So it's just like they can ask any questions. And that is so important, especially when you're going through some of the things. Because I went through horrible depression. I mean, you know, numerous suicide attempts. And I mean, that dark place that you get to and you think nobody cares. Nobody's going to miss you if you're not even there. And it's just like, I mean, I don't want any child to go through that.
You're going to make me cry. I'm sorry, you know, because I have 3 boys, and you want your children to feel strong and empowered and not fearful.
Right,
do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just such an important thing, and I know now your most recent project, as we continue this evolution of Greg Louganis, is your involvement with usadiving.org, where you're mentoring children and coaches as well, right? Tell me about that.
You know, it's amazing. I mean, we just started this year, and I went to the National Training Center in Indianapolis. I went to Bloomington at Indiana University and worked with some of the kids and the coaches, and it has been so incredible because, you know what, even with all the accomplishments, I never felt like I had anything to offer.
Isn't that
weird?
Yeah.
And it's just like, and now, I mean, I'm going to these kids and I'm talking and I'm sharing my experiences, and, you know, the communication back and forth is incredible. Because I'm realizing, gosh, I really do have something to offer.
And you did all along.
I know, but I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
That's just it. I didn't believe it.
And now that you're able to give these other children the opportunity to believe it,
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful thing. And I want you to stick around because we do want to continue this conversation with you, speaking of children and giving them something to offer. Coming up after the break, we'll introduce you to Jordan Windle. Now, he is 12 years old. He's a really cute boy. He was adopted from Cambodia. And he's already earned a junior national title for diving. Stay with us to learn more about his story and his relationship to Greg. That is coming up after the break, so don't go away.